It was a chilly evening in the city, and the TV screen flickered with the image of a confident man, a leading American atheist. He spoke with such certainty, his words piercing through the room. No intelligent person would ever believe in God. I was stunned. Those words echoed in my mind for years, challenging everything I thought I knew. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was deeply wrong with his assertion. How could it be true? How could the greatest minds in history, the very people who shaped our world, not believe in God? The more I thought about it, the more determined I became to find out the truth. So I started my journey. For about 10 years, I visited countless libraries, both at universities and in public spaces. I read hundreds of books, letters, and personal writings from the greatest artists, musicians, philosophers, scientists, and writers. I wanted to know what they really believed, not what others said about them. What I discovered was shocking. The atheist's claim was not just wrong. It was the opposite of the truth. The vast majority of the greatest minds in history believed in a creator. Many were even devout Christians. They saw God as the source of their inspiration, the driving force behind their achievements, and the ultimate truth that gave meaning to their lives. Take Leonardo da Vinci, for example. He was not just a brilliant artist and inventor. He was a man of deep faith. In one of his notebooks he wrote, "I obey thee, Lord, first for the love I in all reason owe thee. Secondly, because thou can shorten or prolong the lives of men." Leonardo saw his work as a way to honor God, and he believed that true creativity came from a connection to the divine. Then there's Michelangelo, the master of the Renaissance. His art is filled with religious themes, and his personal writings reveal a deep spiritual life. In one of his sonnets, he wrote, "Unless thou show us thine own true way, no man can find it. Father, thou must lead." For Michelangelo, his art was a form of worship, a way to express his love and devotion to God. But it's not just the artists. Great musicians like Johann Sebastian Bach and Ludwig van Beethoven were also deeply religious. Bach often signed his works with "To God alone be glory." And Beethoven wrote, "O God, thou art the true, eternal, blessed, unchangeable light of all time and space." Their music was a reflection of their faith, a way to communicate the beauty and majesty of God. Even the great scientists, often seen as the most rational and objective of thinkers, found room for God in their lives. Galileo, Newton, and Copernicus all believed in a creator. Galileo once said, "Philosophy is written in this grand book. I mean the universe, which stands continually open to our gaze, but it cannot be understood unless one first learns to comprehend the language and interpret the characters in which it is written. It is written in the language of mathematics, and its characters are triangles, circles, and other geometrical figures, without which it is humanly impossible to understand a single word of it. Without these, one is wandering around in a dark labyrinth." For Galileo, the language of the universe was a reflection of God's wisdom and design. The more I delved into the lives of these great minds, the more I realized that belief in God was not a sign of weakness or ignorance. It was, in fact, a source of strength, inspiration, and profound wisdom. These individuals saw their talents and achievements as gifts from God, and they dedicated their lives to understanding and honoring the divine. This book is the result of my journey. It is a collection of the thoughts and beliefs of the greatest artists, musicians, philosophers, scientists, and writers. It is a testament to the idea that belief in God is not only compatible with intelligence and creativity, but is often the very foundation of it. As you read the words of these luminaries, you will be inspired, enlightened, and perhaps even moved to reconsider your own beliefs. The evidence is clear, and it comes directly from the pens of the greatest minds in history. They believed in God, and that belief shaped their lives and their work in profound ways. So let's begin this journey together. Let's explore the faith of the giants who have shaped our world. Who knows? You might just find that their words resonate with you in ways you never expected. The world of great composers and philosophers is a tapestry woven with threads of deep faith and reverence for the divine. Each of these remarkable individuals, in their own way, found solace, inspiration, and strength in their belief in God. Let's explore some of their thoughts and how they expressed their faith through their words and works. In the world of music, composers like Rossini and Gluck found their artistic purpose intertwined with their spiritual beliefs. Rossini, for instance, felt a weight of distance as a burden given by God, and he accepted it with resignation. Gluck, living in a time of growing atheism, remained steadfast in his trust in God and the importance of religion. Handel, a towering figure in classical music, lived and died as a devoted Christian. His friend James Smythe noted that Handel's life was marked by a strong sense of duty to God and humanity. Handel's letters reveal his gratitude for his health and his trust in God's plan, even in times of struggle. He believed that his musical talents were a gift from God, and he used them to glorify the divine. Haydn, another great composer, often attributed his musical abilities to God. He believed that his talent was a gift from the Almighty, and he used it to create beautiful music that praised God. In his letters, Haydn often expressed his gratitude and trust in God, even when he faced health issues. He found peace and inspiration in nature, which he saw as a reflection of God's creation. Liszt, a passionate and zealous Christian, often wrote to his friend Wagner about his deep faith. He believed that only God's word remains eternal, and that through Christ, salvation and rescue come. Liszt's letters are filled with prayers and wishes for God's blessings, showing his profound trust in the divine. Mozart, a genius of his time, saw his musical talents as a gift from God. He often thanked God for his safety and for the blessings in his life. When his mother passed away, Mozart accepted it as God's will and sought comfort in his faith. He believed in God's compassion and mercy, and he found strength in submitting to God's will. Wagner, known for his complex and powerful operas, also expressed his faith in his correspondence. He wished his friends strength and joy in their work, always invoking God's blessings. Wagner believed that God forgave all sins and that his love and mercy were boundless. In the realm of philosophy, thinkers like Francis Bacon and Henri Bergson explored the relationship between human knowledge and faith. Bacon believed that while a little philosophy might lead to atheism, deeper philosophical understanding brings one back to religion. He emphasized that denying God diminishes human nobility, and that true reverence for God cannot tolerate any mixture with other beliefs. Bergson, a philosopher of the early 20th century, saw God as a living presence that illuminates and warms the souls of those who are receptive. He believed that if people truly understood the universal God, wars would cease, as all would see each other as brothers and sisters in the same divine family. Tommaso Campanella, a philosopher and theologian, wrote deeply about his faith. He believed in a God of power, wisdom, and love, the creator of all. Campanella's writings often reflect his supplications to God, seeking relief from his trials and a deeper understanding of the divine. Pico della Mirandola, a Renaissance philosopher, saw humanity as the most august temple of the divinity. He believed that God's supreme liberality allowed humans to become what they desired, emphasizing the potential for human greatness through divine grace. René Descartes, a key figure in the development of modern philosophy, found in God the ultimate principle of perfection. He argued that the idea of perfection in his mind could only have come from God, the perfect being. For Descartes, accepting God meant opening his spirit to infinite possibilities and the promise of a better future. Fichte, a German philosopher, saw beauty as a manifestation of God's nature. He believed that true beauty could only come from God, and that it revealed itself in the minds of those inspired by the divine. Fichte's philosophy also emphasized the importance of recognizing one's own nothingness and finding one's existence only in God. Hegel, another influential German philosopher, saw God as the beginning and end of all things. He believed that God was the absolute self-consciousness and the only self-subsisting being. For Hegel, thinking of God meant transcending the sensory and individual to reach the realm of the universal and the pure. William James, an American philosopher, saw life as a real fight where something is eternally gained for the universe through success. He believed that the struggles of life had a deeper meaning and that faith and idealism were necessary to overcome atheism and fear. Immanuel Kant, a pivotal figure in modern philosophy, explored the moral and ethical implications of belief in God. He argued that without God, the moral order of the world would be meaningless. For Kant, the idea of God was essential for understanding the purpose and meaning of human existence. These composers and philosophers, each in their unique way, found that their faith in God gave them strength, inspiration, and a deeper understanding of the world around them. Their words and works continue to resonate, reminding us of the profound impact of faith on human creativity and thought. The chapter delves into the deep thoughts of some of history's most influential minds, exploring their views on the existence of God and the nature of faith. These thinkers, from philosophers to scientists, have left behind a wealth of wisdom that continues to shape how we understand the world and our place in it. Edward Caird, a philosopher from the late 19th century, pondered the intricate connections between things in the universe. He argued that the mere existence of substances is not enough to explain how they interact and influence each other. For Caird, there must be an external principle that binds everything together. This principle, he believed, is God, the common ground that determines the existence of all things and their relationships. Without such a principle, it would be impossible to understand the interconnectedness of the world. This idea suggests that the universe is not a random collection of objects, but a coherent system with a divine foundation. Søren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher and theologian, focused on the essence of Christianity and the call to imitate Christ. He emphasized that the Christianity of the New Testament is a high and demanding path. Kierkegaard believed that the truth of Christianity is not just a set of beliefs, but a way of life. The truth is suffering, he argued, because it is at odds with the sinful and ungodly world. Christ, the apostles, and all witnesses to the truth suffered, and they required one thing from their followers: imitation. This imitation is not just about following rules, but about living a life that reflects the values of Christ, even if it means enduring suffering. Kierkegaard also pointed out that Christianity is a gift and an obligation, where the more one receives, the more one is called to give. Gottfried Leibniz, a German philosopher and mathematician, saw God as the ultimate architect and king of the universe. He believed that God is the inventor and architect of nature, the king and father of intelligent beings, and the creator of a perfect monarchy where justice and goodness reign. Leibniz argued that even the smallest evil in the world serves a purpose in the grand design, and that the world, as it is is the best possible world. He believed that wise and virtuous people strive to align their will with God's, recognizing that the universe, in all its complexity, is the best it can be. John Locke, an English philosopher, emphasized the importance of faith and moral integrity. He believed that true acceptance with God comes from faith and inward sincerity, not from outward observances or rituals. Locke argued that those who are genuinely concerned with the kingdom of God should focus on eradicating immorality and promoting peace and tolerance. He warned that those who are cruel to those who differ in opinion while being indulgent in their own sins are not truly serving God. Locke also believed that the search for God's favor and the performance of His will should be the highest priority for humanity, as nothing in this world is more important than eternal happiness. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a French philosopher, saw God as the source of justice and truth. He believed that God created humans in His image, giving them the freedom to be good and happy. Rousseau emphasized that trust in God and the commitment to doing His will are essential for a fulfilling life. He was convinced that God is just and good, and that this belief should guide all actions and decisions. Great scientists throughout history have also reflected on their faith in the role of God in the universe. Isaac Newton, one of the most influential scientists of all time, believed that the diversity and order of the world could only have arisen from the free will of God. Newton saw the universe as a testament to God's design and wisdom. Tycho Brahe, a Danish astronomer, acknowledged that all things come from God and that God's will governs the world. He believed that the end of the world is known only to God and cannot be predicted by human understanding. Nicholas Copernicus, the Polish mathematician and astronomer, saw the beauty and order of the universe as a reflection of God's artistry. He believed that the psalmist's joy in God's works was a path to the contemplation of the highest good. Michael Faraday, an English scientist, saw death as a transition to eternal life for Christians. He believed that through the Holy Spirit, Christians can overcome the fear of death and find hope in the promise of eternal life through Jesus Christ. Faraday emphasized that the Christian's trust in God's promise of salvation and the guidance of the Word of God are essential for a life of faith. Galileo Galilei, the Italian astronomer, saw God as the ultimate creator and the source of all wisdom. He believed that the Scriptures and nature are both revelations of God's will and that God's gifts, including the senses, speech, and intellect, should be used to understand the world. William Harvey, an English physician, saw God's presence in the creation of all living things. He believed that the intricate design of animals and their reproduction is a testament to God's wisdom and skill. Harvey saw his scientific work as a way to understand God's creation and to humble himself before the divine. Johannes Kepler, a German mathematician and astronomer, believed that geometric principles are eternal and coexist with God. He saw the creation of the universe as a reflection of God's perfect design and order. These thinkers, through their diverse perspectives, offer a rich tapestry of ideas about God, faith, and the nature of the universe. Their insights challenge us to think deeply about our place in the world and the role of the divine in our lives. Whether through philosophy, theology, or science, they remind us that the search for truth and the pursuit of a meaningful life are intertwined with the belief in a higher power. In the world of science and the realms of literature, many great minds have pondered the role of God and the nature of existence. Sir Isaac Newton, a towering figure in the history of science, believed that the complexity and beauty of the universe could only be explained by the divine will of God. He argued that the laws of nature, which scientists study and understand through observation and experimentation, are not the result of necessity, but of the wise and perfect contrivance of the Almighty. Newton saw the study of nature as a way to reverence and adore the Creator, emphasizing that true wisdom comes from recognizing the infinite wisdom and goodness of God. Harriet Beecher Stowe, a renowned American author, found her strength and guidance in the teachings of the Bible. She believed that those who live in accordance with God's laws are blessed with prosperity. Stowe also reflected on the idea that God often understands our needs better than we do, sometimes providing us with what we truly need rather than what we might ask for. Her deep faith was a source of comfort and inspiration, leading her to write about the joy of being in God's presence and the draught and power of Christ's love. Emily Bronte, the English novelist and poet, expressed her faith through powerful and emotive poetry. In her poem, "No Coward Soul Is Mine," Bronte declares her unwavering faith in God's infinite power and wisdom. She sees God as the ever-present, almighty force that animates all of existence and sustains it through eternity. Her poetry reflects a deep conviction that God's presence is a source of strength and courage, helping her to overcome fear and doubt. Robert Browning, the celebrated English poet, often explored the relationship between man and God in his works. In his poem, Christmas Eve, Browning describes how his faith in God's infinite power and wisdom was strengthened through his observations of nature. He believed that God's goodness and love would be revealed in all things, and that one day he would behold God face to face, understanding the divine plan that guides the universe. Browning's poetry is a testament to his belief in a God who is both infinitely powerful and infinitely good. Elizabeth Browning, another great poet, wrote about the challenges of living in accordance with God's will. She recognized that human efforts to do God's will can sometimes lead to unexpected outcomes. But she also believed that God's ultimate plan is always good. In her poetry, she reflects on the balance between human suffering and divine grace, emphasizing the importance of patience and trust in God's wisdom. Anton Chekhov, the Russian playwright and short story writer, often spoke of his deep faith in God. He believed that all things are in God's hands, and that modern culture, with all its advancements, is just the beginning of a long journey toward understanding the true nature of God. Chekhov's letters reveal his admiration for the teachings of the Gospels, and his belief that true understanding of God comes from a clear and simple perception rather than from complex theories or philosophical debates. Dante Alighieri, the medieval Italian poet, saw God as the ultimate source of knowledge, love, and action. In his works, Dante often sought God's guidance and mercy, recognizing God's supreme power and the need for human beings to align their lives with divine will. His poetry and writings are filled with appeals to God for help and for the strength to overcome sin and live a virtuous life. Charles Dickens, the English novelist, emphasized the importance of living a Christian life based on love, forgiveness, and humility. He believed that following the teachings of Jesus Christ would lead to a peaceful and fulfilling life. Dickens encouraged his readers to show kindness and compassion to others, to avoid boasting about their good deeds, and to always seek to do what is right. He saw the Christian faith as a guiding light that helps people navigate the challenges of life and find hope in difficult times. John Donne, the English poet and cleric, wrote powerful and emotional poetry that explored the relationship between man and God. His holy sonnets express a deep sense of sin and the need for divine grace and redemption. Donne believed that God's love and mercy are available to all who seek them, and that the only way to truly understand God's plan is to humbly ask for forgiveness and guidance. Fyodor Dostoevsky, the Russian novelist, found solace and strength in his faith. He often wrote about the importance of God in his life and the impact of his religious beliefs on his work. Dostoevsky's letters reveal his deep respect for the teachings of the Church and his belief that God's presence is a source of comfort and guidance. His encounters with religious leaders, such as the bishops Alexei and Nikolai, reinforced his faith and inspired him to continue his work as a writer and a Christian. These great thinkers and writers, each in their own way, found meaning and purpose in their faith. Their reflections on God, nature, and the human condition continue to inspire and challenge us, reminding us of the profound connection between the divine and the everyday. In the quiet village where Constantine lived, the echoes of the church bells often mingled with the rustling leaves and the gentle river flow. It was a place where many found solace in the simplicity of life and the comfort of faith. Constantine, a young man with a thoughtful heart, often wandered through the woods, pondering the deep questions of life and the mysterious nature of the world. One day, while walking through the forest, Constantine stumbled upon an old, weathered book hidden beneath a moss-covered rock. The book was bound in leather and had the title, "The Brothers Karamazov," etched on its cover. Curious, he opened it and began to read. The pages were filled with the words of a dying old monk who spoke of the struggle between faith and doubt. The monk described a world where the young generation, influenced by science and philosophy, was denying the existence of God. He wrote, "The denial I described just as I felt it myself and realized it strongest, that is, just as it is now taking place in our Russia in nearly the whole upper stratum of society, and above all with the young generation." Constantine was struck by the monk's words. He had never considered that the denial of God could be so deeply rooted in society. The monk continued, "These are the only things which modern civilization finds utter nonsense. The refutation of this, not a direct, not a face-to-face refutation, will appear in the last word of the dying old monk." As Constantine read on, he came across a chapter titled "The Russian Monk." The words were profound and filled with a deep sense of love and compassion. "If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in things." These words resonated with Constantine. He had always felt a deep connection to nature and the world around him. The idea that love could be so all-encompassing, extending even to those who seemed lost, was both comforting and challenging. The monk's words continued, "My friends, pray to God for gladness. Be glad as children, as the birds of heaven. Kiss the earth and love it, with an unceasing, consuming love. Love all men, love everything. Seek that rapture and ecstasy. Water the earth with the tears of your joy, and love those tears. Don't be ashamed of that ecstasy. Prize it, for it is a gift of God and a great one. It is not given to many but only to the elect." The idea of finding joy and love in everything, even in the face of pain and sorrow, was a powerful one. He began to see the world in a new light, filled with the potential for beauty and meaning. But the monk's words also carried a warning. He wrote, "They, socialists, aim at justice, but denying Christ, they will end by flooding the earth with blood, and if it were not for Christ's covenant, they would slaughter one another down to the last 2 men on earth, and that would come to pass, were it not for the promise of Christ that for the sake of the humble and meek, the days shall be shortened." Constantine realized that the denial of faith could lead to great suffering. He thought about the world he lived in and the challenges it faced. The struggle between faith and doubt, between love and violence, was a timeless one. As he continued to read, Constantine found himself drawn to the words of other great thinkers and writers. He read the poetry of John Dryden, who wrote, "O teach me to believe thee thus concealed, and search no further than thyself revealed." He pondered the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote, How dear, how soothing to man arises the idea of God, peopling the lonely place, effacing the scars of our mistakes and disappointments. He read the thoughts of Benjamin Franklin, who believed in the importance of doing good as a service to God. He read the musings of Johann Goethe, who saw God as the eternal, infinite being who governs the universe. He even found the words of Heinrich Heine, who, despite his skepticism, found a deep faith in a personal God. Each of these thinkers and writers added to Constantine's understanding of the world and his place in it. He realized that faith was not just a set of beliefs, but a way of living and loving. It was a path that required courage, compassion, and a deep connection to the world around him. Constantine closed the book and looked out at the forest. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the trees. He felt a sense of peace and purpose. The words he had read had given him a new perspective, one that filled him with hope and a desire to make a difference in the world. As he walked back to the village, Constantine knew that the journey of faith was not an easy one, but it was a journey worth taking. He felt a deep connection to the divine, a connection that would guide him through the challenges and joys of life. The chapter opens with a deep reflection on the nature of God as seen through the eyes of historical figures. William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania, emphasizes the importance of understanding God through the sacred writings, ensuring that our concept of the divine aligns with how God has chosen to reveal himself. Penn's wisdom extends to the practical aspects of daily life, urging us to begin and end each day with God, a simple yet profound practice that grounds us in the divine. Moving to the countryside, Penn finds a closer connection to God in the natural world, where the works of God are evident, unlike in the bustling cities where human creations dominate. He draws a poignant comparison between human creations and God's works, illustrating that while human creations often reflect pride and excess, God's creations are a testament to his power, wisdom, and goodness. Petrarch, the Italian poet, offers a different perspective, highlighting the benefits of prayer and the role of God in preserving our lives. His words remind us that bowing to God in humility brings not only spiritual but also practical benefits, helping us navigate the challenges of life with grace. Alexander Pope, the English poet, delves into the intricate design of the universe, suggesting that everything is interconnected in a great chain upheld by God. He emphasizes that each part of creation has a purpose, and that understanding our place in this grand design is key to finding true happiness. Pope's poetry challenges us to look beyond our immediate surroundings and consider the broader context of our existence, guided by the wisdom of a higher power. Christina Rossetti, the Victorian poet, uses her poetry to explore the nature of sin and redemption. In The Three Enemy, she personifies the flesh, the world, and the devil, each tempting us away from God. Her verses remind us of Christ's sacrifice and the enduring love of God, which can help us resist these temptations and stay on the path of righteousness. Friedrich Schiller, the German playwright and philosopher, often expressed his faith in God through his letters to Goethe. His personal experiences, such as the health of his wife and children, were often seen as blessings from God. Schiller's words reflect a deep trust in divine providence, even in the face of life's challenges. William Shakespeare, the renowned playwright, left a testament of his faith in his will, commending his soul to God and expressing his belief in eternal life through Jesus Christ. His final words reveal a profound spiritual dimension to his life, showing that even the greatest of artists found solace and purpose in their faith. Jonathan Swift, the satirical writer, grapples with the concept of human contribution to God's glory. He questions the idea that we can add to God's honor, suggesting that our role is more about recognizing and appreciating God's mercy in our lives. Torquato, Tasso, the Italian poet, turns to God in his moments of doubt and struggle. His poem to the Lord is a plea for guidance and strength, asking for God's mercy to light his way and show him the path back to divine favor. Tasso's words are a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we can turn to God for help and direction. Alfred Tennyson, the Victorian poet, grapples with the concept of God's presence and the mystery of life and death. In Memoriam, he speaks of God as the creator of all things, both life and death, and finds comfort in the belief that God will not leave us in the dust. Tennyson's poetry explores the tension between human will and divine will, ultimately finding solace in the idea of a just and loving God. Henry Thoreau, the American transcendentalist, offers a unique perspective on the role of God in our lives. He emphasizes self-reliance and the importance of living in harmony with nature, seeing God's presence in the calm and beauty of the natural world. Thoreau's writings challenge us to trust in God not as a passive force, but as an active partner in our lives, encouraging us to be bold and vigorous in our faith. Leo Tolstoy, the Russian novelist and philosopher, delves deeply into the nature of God and the soul. He sees God as the origin of all things, including our thoughts, love, and even matter. Tolstoy's writings emphasize the importance of living in accordance with God's will, seeing this as the only true and meaningful way to live. His creed, which outlines the divine origin of life and the importance of serving God, is a powerful call to action. William Wordsworth, the Romantic poet, finds God in the beauty of nature and the order of the universe. His poetry is a celebration of God's presence in the world, from the smile on God's face to the preservation of the stars. Wordsworth's works encourage us to seek God's guidance in all aspects of our lives, finding strength and wisdom in the divine. These reflections from some of the greatest minds in history offer a rich tapestry of thoughts on God, faith, and the human experience. Each voice adds a unique thread to the fabric of our understanding, inviting us to consider our own relationship with the divine and the role of God in our lives. In the world of art and science, there have been many great minds who have left an indelible mark on human history. One of these is the German composer whose life and work continue to inspire people around the globe. Born in a time when music was transitioning from the Baroque to the classical era, this composer created some of the most beautiful and profound works ever written. Despite facing profound challenges, including losing his hearing, he continued to compose, driven by an unwavering passion for his art. This composer, known for his 9 symphonies, including the majestic 9th Symphony, also wrote the hauntingly beautiful Moonlight Sonata and the intense Appassionata Sonata. His opera Fidelio is a powerful tale of love and freedom, and his string quartets, particularly the Rasumovsky quartets, showcase his innovative approach to musical form. Even as he became completely deaf, he managed to compose the 9th Symphony, a work that celebrates the unity of humanity with its famous Ode to Joy. In the realm of philosophy, another great mind emerged, challenging the prevailing ideas of his time. Henri Bergson, a French philosopher, rejected the static and materialistic views of the 19th century. He believed in a dynamic life force that could be understood through intuition rather than intellectual analysis. This idea, which some called anti-intellectual, deeply influenced the artists and poets of his era. Bergson's work resonated with figures like William James, George Santayana, and Alfred North Whitehead, shaping the way they thought about the world. Turning to the world of art, we find William Blake, an English painter, poet, and engraver, who was a visionary mystic. Blake was a key figure in the Romantic movement, known for his unique and often symbolic works. He wrote and illustrated his own books, creating masterpieces like The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, Visions of the Daughters of Albion, and Songs of Innocence and Experience. His art often drew from biblical and mythological themes, offering a deep and personal interpretation of the world around him. In the realm of astronomy, Tycho Brahe, a Danish nobleman, made groundbreaking observations that challenged the existing beliefs about the universe. Brahe's work was characterized by its precision and accuracy, and he is often credited as the first competent mind in modern astronomy to emphasize the importance of empirical facts. His book, De Nova Stella, On the New Star, refuted the Aristotelian belief in an unchanging celestial realm, paving the way for future scientific discoveries. Emily Bronte, an English novelist and poet, is considered one of the most talented of the Bronte sisters. Despite her short life and reserved nature, she left a lasting legacy with her novel, Wuthering Heights. This highly imaginative work explores themes of passion, revenge, and the supernatural, and it has become a classic of English literature. Her poetry, though less well known, is also celebrated for its depth and originality. Elizabeth Barrett Browning, an English poet, is best known for her love poems, particularly sonnets from the Portuguese. Her most ambitious work, Aurora Leigh, became a huge success and cemented her place in literary history. Browning spent her later years in Italy, where she died in the arms of her beloved husband, Robert Browning. Robert Browning, a major English poet of the Victorian age, is best known for his narrative and dramatic poems. His greatest work, The Ring and the Book, is a complex and ambitious piece that explores themes of justice and human nature. Browning's marriage to Elizabeth Barrett Browning was a happy and productive one, and he continued to write long into his later years, influencing many modern poets like Robert Frost and Ezra Pound. Michelangelo Buonarroti, an Italian sculptor, painter, and architect, was one of the greatest figures of the Italian Renaissance. His works, such as the Sistine Chapel ceiling, The Last Judgment, the Statue of David, and Pietà, are considered among the greatest masterpieces of Western art. Michelangelo's influence extended beyond his lifetime, shaping the course of art and culture for generations. Tommaso Campanella, an Italian philosopher and writer, sought to reconcile Renaissance humanism with Roman Catholic theology. His most famous work, Città del Sole, City of the Sun, was written while he was imprisoned by the Spanish Inquisition. Despite his difficult circumstances, Campanella wrote poetry and philosophical treatises that were considered some of the most original of his time. His collection of 30 books, Theologia, explored a wide range of theological and philosophical ideas. Paul Cézanne, a French painter and one of the greatest post-impressionists, is known for his innovative approach to color and form. His landscapes and still lifes, such as The Mills of Garden, The Card Players, and The Boy in a Red Waistcoat, are celebrated for their depth and complexity. Cézanne's work had a significant impact on the development of modern art, particularly the Cubist movement. Anton Chekhov, a major Russian playwright and short story writer, is known for his realistic and nuanced portrayal of human emotions. His plays, including The Seagull, Uncle Vanya, Three Sisters, and The Cherry Orchard, are considered masterpieces of modern drama. Chekhov's short stories, which are increasingly recognized for their profound insight, explore the complexities of human life with a subtle and often tragic touch. Frédéric Chopin, a Polish composer of the Romantic era, is known for his beautiful and innovative piano compositions. All of Chopin's works feature the piano, and he is credited with inventing the concept of the instrumental ballade. His major works, such as his sonatas, mazurkas, waltzes, nocturnes, polonaises, etudes, impromptus, scherzos, and preludes, continue to be celebrated for their emotional depth and technical brilliance. Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish astronomer, is famous for his heliocentric theory, which proposed that the Earth rotates around its axis and orbits the Sun. His work, De Revolutionibus Orbium Coelestium, challenged the long-held Aristotelian belief in a geocentric universe. Copernicus's ideas had a profound impact on the development of science and philosophy, paving the way for the scientific revolution. Leonardo da Vinci, an Italian polymath, is considered one of the greatest geniuses of all time. He revolutionized Italian painting with his use of soft transitions in light and his emphasis on realism. Da Vinci's scientific interests were wide-ranging, and he made groundbreaking contributions to fields such as anatomy, engineering, and aerodynamics. His famous works, including the Mona Lisa and The Last Supper, continue to captivate audiences around the world. Daniel Defoe, an English novelist and political writer, is known for his influential works such as Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders, Roxana, and A Journal of the Plague Year. His writing style, influenced by the Bible, John Bunyan, and contemporary oratory, helped shape the development of the English novel. Defoe's work as a journalist, particularly his publication, The Review, was a landmark in English journalism. Eugene Delacroix, a French painter, was a major proponent of the Romantic movement. His use of vibrant colors and dynamic compositions influenced both the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist movements. Delacroix's works, such as Dante and Virgil in Hell, Liberty Leading the People, and The Death of Sardanapalus, often drew inspiration from historical and contemporary events, capturing the spirit of his time. Alphonse de Lamartine, a French writer, poet, and politician, played a crucial role in the foundation of the Second Republic. During his political career, he advocated for democracy and pacifism, leading efforts to abolish slavery and the death penalty. Lamartine's moderate stance on many issues caused him to lose some of his followers, but he is remembered as the first French Romantic poet, known for his lyrical and idealistic poetry. Pico della Mirandola, an Italian Renaissance philosopher, is best known for his oration on the dignity of man, a key text of Renaissance humanism. At the age of 23, he proposed to defend 900 theses on various subjects, ranging from religion to philosophy and magic. Della Mirandola's ideas emphasized the potential and dignity of human beings, challenging the prevailing views of his time. René Descartes, a French philosopher and mathematician, is considered the founder of modern philosophy. His famous statement, "I think, therefore I am," forms the basis of his philosophical system. Descartes believed that the existence of God was a self-evident truth and made significant contributions to the physical sciences. His work laid the foundation for many of the scientific and philosophical ideas that followed. Charles Dickens, the greatest English novelist of the Victorian era, is known for his powerful social commentary and vivid characters. His works, including Oliver Twist, A Christmas Carol, David Copperfield, Great Expectations, and A Tale of Two Cities, address social injustices and advocate for reform. Dickens' writing has had a lasting impact on literature and society, and he is often regarded as the greatest English novelist. John Donne, a leading poet of the metaphysical school, is known for his complex and intellectually challenging poetry. He began his career writing lyric poetry and later turned to religious themes, becoming the Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Donne's works, such as Devotions upon Emergent Occasions, Biathanatos, and Essays on the Divinity, explore deep theological and philosophical questions. Fyodor Dostoevsky, a Russian novelist, journalist, and short story writer, is known for his profound and complex exploration of human nature. His novels, including Crime and Punishment and The Brothers Karamazov, delve into themes of morality, freedom, and the human psyche. Dostoevsky's insights into the darker aspects of the human mind have had a significant impact on the development of the modern novel. John Dryden, an English poet, critic, and dramatist, was a prominent figure in the literary world of his time. He served as poet laureate under Charles II and wrote several plays, including The Indian Princess, The Conquest of Granada, and Aurangzeba. Dryden is primarily known for his poetry, particularly works like Ode for St. Cecilia's Day, Alexander's Feast, and Ode to the Memory of Mrs. Anne Killigrew. Albrecht Dürer, a German artist, is considered one of the greatest figures of the Northern Renaissance. His work spans a wide range of media, including painting, engraving, and printmaking. Dürer is known for his detailed and realistic portraits, religious works, and landscapes. His watercolors in particular marked him as one of the first European landscape artists, and his influence on art and science was significant. Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American poet, essayist, and lecturer, was a leading exponent of the New England Transcendentalists. His writings, such as Nature and the American Scholar, emphasize the spiritual potential of human beings and the importance of individualism. Emerson's poetry, including Brahma, the Rhodora, and Condor Hymn, is celebrated for its inspirational and philosophical depth. Michael Faraday, an English scientist, made groundbreaking contributions to the fields of electromagnetism and electrochemistry. Despite receiving little formal education, Faraday's work laid the foundation for the concept of the electromagnetic field. His inventions, such as electromagnetic rotary devices, were crucial to the development of electric motor technology, and his experiments in electricity have had a lasting impact on science and technology. Johann Gottlieb Fichte, a German philosopher and disciple of Kant, was one of the greatest transcendental idealists. Fichte believed that the ultimate goal of life was the knowledge and love of God, and he saw the divine order of the universe as the highest aspect of rational thought. His works, such as The Vocations of Man, The Characteristics of the Present Age, and The Way Toward the Blessed Life, explore these ideas in depth. Benjamin Franklin, an American statesman, scientist, inventor, and writer, was a key figure in the founding of the United States. He helped draft the Declaration of Independence in the U.S. Constitution and played a crucial role in negotiating peace with Britain after the Revolutionary War. Franklin's scientific interests were wide-ranging, and his experiments in electricity, particularly his famous kite experiment, have had a lasting impact on the field. Galileo Galilei, an Italian scientist, is considered one of the founders of the experimental method. He supported the Copernican theory that the Earth orbits the Sun and was declared a heretic for his beliefs. Galileo's major works, such as Dialogue Concerning Two Chief World Systems and Dialogue Concerning Two New Sciences, explore the laws of motion and the principles of physics. His discoveries, including the craters on the Moon and the composition of the Milky Way, revolutionized the field of astronomy. Christoph Willibald Gluck, a German composer, is known for his revolutionary approach to opera. After producing operas in the prevailing styles for 20 years, Gluck introduced a new simplicity and naturalism to his works. His operas, such as Orfeo and Eurydice, Alceste, and Iphigenia in Aulis, emphasized drama over vocal virtuosity, influencing later composers like Mozart and Cherubini. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, a German poet, novelist, playwright, and natural philosopher, is the greatest figure of the German Romantic period. His masterpiece, Faust, explores the battle between good and evil and is considered the greatest work in German literature. Goethe's extensive body of work, spanning 133 volumes in the Weimar edition, includes poetry, novels, and plays that continue to inspire readers and scholars. Nikolai Gogol, a Ukrainian-born Russian writer, is known for his satirical and realistic works. His novel, Dead Souls, and his short story, The Overcoat, are considered masterpieces of Russian literature. Gogol's writing often explored the tension between the individual and society, and his works have had a lasting impact on the development of Russian realism. George Friedrich Handel, a German composer, combined elements of German, Italian, English, and French musical styles. He was successful in both opera and oratorio, with his most famous works, including Israel in Egypt, Samson, and Jephthah. Handel's oratorio Messiah remains one of the most beloved works in the Western classical tradition, celebrated for its emotional depth and musical beauty. William Harvey, an English physician, is known for his discovery of the circulation of blood and the function of the heart as a pump. His major work, On the Motion of the Heart and Blood in Animals, laid the foundation for modern physiology. Harvey's rigorous scientific methods influenced generations of researchers and helped establish the importance of empirical observation in medical science. Franz Joseph Haydn, an Austrian composer, is often called the father of the symphony for his development of symphonic form and orchestration. He wrote 85 string quartets and 104 symphonies, including The Creation and The Seasons, which were composed during his later years. Haydn's Emperor's Hymn became the national anthem of Austria, and his influence on classical music is significant. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, a German idealist philosopher, is known for his dialectical method, which posits that thesis and antithesis lead to synthesis. Hegel's major works, such as The Phenomenology of the Mind, The Science of Logic, and The Philosophy of Right, explore the relationship between spirit and matter. Hegel's ideas have had a profound impact on the development of existentialism, positivism, and analytic philosophy. Heinrich Heine, a German Jewish poet, is known for his satirical and lyrical poetry. His works, such as Roman Zero and Poems 1853 to 1854, are celebrated for their beauty and depth. Heine's poetry often critiqued the social and political injustices of his time, and his ideas were later banned by the Nazi regime. Victor Hugo, a French writer, is one of the most important figures of the Romantic movement. His poetry, including Les Contemplations and La Légende Siècle, is highly regarded, but he is best known outside France for his novels Les Misérables and Notre Dame de Paris, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hugo's works explore themes of love, justice, and the human condition, and his influence on literature and culture is significant. John Auguste Dominique Ingres, a French painter, was a leading figure in the neoclassical movement. Ingres was heavily influenced by Raphael and is known for his detailed and realistic portraits, such as Madame Moitessier and La Comtesse d'Aussonville. His works, including Turkish Women at the Bath, are celebrated for their beauty and technical mastery, and Ingres received many honors during his lifetime, including being made a lifelong senator. William James, an American philosopher and psychologist, is known for his contributions to pragmatism and the study of human consciousness. James's ideas, particularly his concept of stream of consciousness, have had a lasting impact on psychology and philosophy. His works, such as The Principles of Psychology and The Varieties of Religious Experience, explore the nature of the mind and the human experience. As we reach the end of our journey through the lives of some of the greatest thinkers, artists, and creators, we can't help but feel inspired by their remarkable achievements. Each of these individuals left an indelible mark on the world, shaping the way we think, feel, and express ourselves.